Yo, what's up guys? So in this video, I'm going to teach you an amazing self-working double prediction card trick. Now what I'm about to teach you is how I handle an effect called double prediction by Alex Elmsley. Yes, the same Alex Elmsley who created the Elmsley Count. He does more than the Elmsley Count. He actually has two giant volumes of books totally on card tricks, and they're all just amazing. If you want to check those out, they're called The Collected Works of Alex Elmsley, Volumes 1 and 2. Let's get into it. Okay, so what I'll do is I will show you what this trick looks like, and then I will show you how it works, alright? So for this, let's just imagine that we have two people here that's going to help me out, okay? So maybe we have one person right here and another person right there. So just imagine that we have that, okay? So in a minute, I'm going to give you some cards, and the amount of cards that you get will be determined by a card that you're just going to think of here in a minute. So let me just write something down real quick, and I want you to remember that I'm writing this down before anything happens, okay? So I'm just gonna write down something that, just from my gut instinct, something that it's different every time. So maybe we'll get this one today. Yeah, I think we'll go with this one today. Yeah, maybe, I'll stick with my first instinct. Maybe we'll go with this today. I could be wrong, but hey, we'll see here in a minute. So I'll put that right there the whole time. So like I said, the amount of cards I'm going to give you is determined by a card that you will just think of. So maybe I'll take a few cards from the deck like this, and I'll spread them so you can look at all of them. And I want you just to think of one of these, okay? So don't say it out loud, but just think of one of these cards here. You got one? Okay, perfect. So what I want you to do now is take the deck and deal cards face down into a pile and spell your card. So I want you to spell your card, a card for each letter. So for instance, if you're thinking of the Ace of Spades, just go ACEOFSPADES, right? But don't say it out loud, just keep it to yourself, okay? So they take the deck and then do that. So maybe they do like this. Who knows, right? Maybe they do something like that. Nobody knows what they're just thinking of. Okay, so remember, you get cards determined by the card you're thinking of. So we'll just count these. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that means you get 13 cards. So take the deck and deal 13 cards face down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So what I want you to do is you're going to select one of these random cards. Okay, so the way you do that is take the packet and you're going to do the under-down elimination procedure used in every casino in the world, like this. So you take a card and just burn it to the bottom and then deal the next card down, okay? So keep doing that until you only have one card left, okay? So they do this until they have one card left in their hand, and that will be your selection, okay? So they do this until they just have one card left. Since it's 13, it takes a little bit, okay? So now we put the rest of these cards over here and put that there. So think about this. The only way I could have known what this card was is if I could have known in advance what card you would just think of. And I'm not saying I know that, I'm just saying it would be cool if I did know that. But remember, I wrote something down in the very beginning before all this happened. The card I actually wrote down, I want you to see, is the 6 of Spades. I don't know why I wrote that down, it just felt right at the time. How incredible would it be if that card was the 6 of Spades? Go ahead and take a look. What? That's insane. That's insane. But maybe we can take this a step further, right? So if I did know the card you were just thinking of in advance, that means I definitely knew the card he was going to take, which is the 6 of Spades. For the first time, tell everybody the card you just thought of. The 8 of Spades. You're not going to believe this. There's a card I always keep in my pocket every day for good luck for me. It's always this card here. The 8 of Spades. All right, so here is how this trick works. There is a little bit of a setup in the deck, and there's only a handful of tricks that are worth a setup like this, and this is definitely one of them because it's such a great trick, right? So the setup is this. So it's a progressive setup, a progressive spelling setup, and what that is each card that comes after spells with one more letter than the previous. So, for example, this 10 of clubs is spelled with 10 letters, the ace of hearts, 11, 5 of hearts, 12, 8 of spades, 13, queen of spades, 14, all right? So I use 5 cards. You're welcome to use 6, but in fact, in the book, he recommends using 6. But we're just going to do 5 today. And the reason why we're doing 5 is because there's a product sold by a little magic shop called JB Magic Shop, and it's owned by Brent Braun and his wife Stephanie Braun. And Stephanie hand makes a lot of things, and one of those things that she hand makes is a little card index, and this is actually a 4-card index, and these are just perfect. I'll take these out so you can see what this is. She makes these, and it holds 4 cards, and it's just one of the best little indexes I've ever held. I'll leave a link down below to where you can pick this up, and I recommend this to everybody for card magic. A lot of things you can do with this, a lot of ESP style tricks as well. These are perfect for that. So what you'll do is you'll take the first 4 cards of your setup and put them in your index. And it doesn't matter how you put them in there, just as long as you can remember how you put them in there, right? So I just put them in here like this. So the first one goes in here. Right, for the 10, the next one goes just right there. How they are set up is how they are in the index, right? So right there, and then right there. So here's your 4 cards set up in your index, and that just goes in your pocket. Now, the queen, nobody ever thinks of the queen, but if they do, you can just put this maybe in your wallet. Where'd the queen go? There it is. You just put this in your wallet, and if they do choose the queen, just produce it from your wallet, and say you always keep a card in your wallet for the finale. But these 4 cards are enough, I find. Nobody ever thinks of the queen or the 10. It's usually one of these 3 in the middle. So this little index just goes in your pocket, and this goes in your wallet, okay? So we have those ready to go. So the setup is on top. Now the 6 of spades, or whatever card you want to predict for the first person, will go 16th from top. And this is Alex Elmsley's 16th card principle happening here. So you have the first 5, so you go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, right? Your prediction card for the first person always goes at number 16, and the first 5 is the 5 that they'll think of, so 5 force cards, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, right? That's how you'll always set the deck up. Now you'll also need a pen and something to write on, okay? So it doesn't have to be a business card or a Sharpie. It can be a pen. It can be anything. So just have something handy to write on with a writing utensil. So you'll always write your force card on this thing. So we would just write the 6 of spades. Now I like to make a big deal out of, second guessing myself and finally deciding on one card to write down. All right, so you start the presentation by doing that, and what you're going to do is this. You can give it a jog shuffle just to keep those there, and then as you're talking and whatever, just lift up at the jog and cut there. This is done casually, just as you're talking to them, right? So in a minute, I'm going to give you some cards, and the cards that I give you will be determined by the card you're just going to think of here in a minute. And after you say all this, you've already done that shuffle and cut, and maintaining these on top. So when you come back to the deck, you just pick them up, and then you spread over 5 cards like this, and just ask them to think of one, right? So just spread these like this, and just have them think of a card. We'll do maybe the Ace of Hearts this time, so you can see what's happening here, right? So Ace of Hearts, and by the way, it doesn't matter what card they think of. It works every time with the 16th card principle. Maybe they think of the Ace of Hearts in this case, so you put it back on the top of the deck, and maybe you can do a false cut as if you're burying those cards in the deck. So now, what they do is you give them, this is the cool part about it, when you give them the deck and you instruct them to spell their card, dealing a card for each letter, all you gotta do is count the cards, and by knowing how many cards they deal, you'll know what cards they're thinking of, right? So you just gotta tell them it's very important to keep it in your head and don't say nothing out loud. So if they deal 11 cards in this case, you'll know that it's the Ace of Hearts. There's no really memory work about it. Just remember that 10. Right, the first one's 10, the second one is 11, 12, 13, 14. Maybe there's a little bit of memory, but it's not much, but it's very intuitive. You'll grasp it right away. So if they deal 11 cards, you know it's the Ace of Hearts. If they deal 14, you'll know it's the Queen of Diamonds, and so on. So they're thinking of the Ace of Hearts in this case, so they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you yourself don't count out loud as you're doing this, right? And so they're silent the whole time. They're not saying nothing the whole time. They're just keeping it in their head and just mentally count the cards that they deal down. Very important. At this point, you remind this person that, remember, I said I was going to give you some cards, and the cards that you get is determined. There's a fly in here. Is determined by the card that you're just thinking of. So let's just count these cards real fast. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I guess you could just count the cards at this point instead of doing it in your head. It doesn't matter. Either way, you know the card instantly when you know how many cards they deal down. So now you can put the deck on top of these cards, and now give the deck to them and have them deal 11 cards face down, or whatever the card may be. If it was the Queen of Diamonds and it was 14, they would take 14 cards as well, all right? So you just have to match, all right? They match their number there. So in this case, they deal 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And no matter, like I said, no matter what the card is, that 6 of spades will always be in the correct position for the down under deal. That's just how it works mathematically. So now you do this. You have them do the under down deal, and it's not to the table first. It's always to the bottom of the packet first, and then to the table. Very important to remember. There's that fly again, bugging the crap out of me. Okay, anyway, so you instruct them to do the under down deal, and you can justify it if you want. Not very important, but you say that they're gonna make a selection by eliminating cards. So have them put a card on the bottom. It's always the bottom first, then to the table. Okay, so bottom table, bottom table, bottom table, bottom table, bottom table, bottom table. Bottom table, bottom table, bottom table, bottom table, and it'll always be the 6 of spades, no matter which card they think of. So at this point, they're just holding a face down card in their hand, and you say, look, if I knew what that card was, I would have to know beforehand which card you would just be thinking of. And I'm not saying I know that, I'm just saying that would be pretty neat if I did know that. But you remember, in the very beginning, I wrote something down in this little card here. The card I wrote down happens to be the 6 of spades. What card did you select after all that? And they turn it over and it's the 6 of spades. Now, here's the cool part. Here's the finish. Since you know that they're thinking of the Ace of Hearts, and they never said it out loud. That's the coolest part about this trick. They never said their card out. They're still thinking of it. So since you have this index in your pocket, you know where the Ace of Hearts is. In this case, it'll be right here, because remember, that's the first one. That's the second one. So you just come in your pocket. You just pull that right out. And it's their card, right? So you just pull that right out, and I always keep a card in my pocket as it's my good luck card. What card were you just thinking of? And they tell you that it's the Ace of Hearts. You turn it over, and then wow, what a great trick, right? Alright guys, so as always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me. And if you learned something new, if you got value out of this video, do me a huge favor and smack that like button and sub to the channel. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.